everyone. Welcome, Patty, Red Door, Witchy, Gloria. Welcome. So, the other day, I listened to the phone call between Jeff and Jamie again. And it really got me thinking. Jeff told Jamie that the police are at their door a lot, CPS is at their door. Frequently. And hey, Robin. Hey, Jess. So it really got me thinking. Is Flashlight addicted to YouTube? Is she addicted to making people suffer? On here, along with some of these other dingbats. So we all know that she's been at it for 10 years. And and I tend to agree with the answer yes. I think some people can't handle. Yes, I did, Red Door. Yeah, I'll be covering that. So some people can't handle certain things in life. So common addictions, maybe narcotics, addictive substances such as cocaine, meth. We have heroin. And then we have other substances, rough substances such as booze, if you abuse it. Hey, Michelle K. We have substances, other substances in this world that such as prescription medications. And due to my research on this, I did a few Google searches. The reasons, the most common reasons for addiction is due to no fault of the person at first. They get themselves into a situation where they get into a car accident. They get injured in a sports activity. They fall down. They have an accident, such as falling down from a ladder, or something along those lines, and they get prescribed something like fentanyl or oxycodone. And they get addicted to their medication. So they start going doctor shopping. And then when they get caught doctor shopping, they can't get the prescription, they may move to natural painkillers, which are illegal, such as cocaine, heroin. Some of the substances that are known as painkillers. Hey, Moon. So they may move to substances such as that for pain as painkillers. Now, the second reason for addiction is peer pressure. You know, kids at school or says, "Oh, let's try this. Let's try let's try some crack. Let's try some meth. Let's try this." And they get themselves addicted. That's less common than other stuff, but it does happen. And the third, which I'm hearing is the most common, is people use alcohol and drugs as a coping mechanism. So some people, we have people in this community or outside this community that we deal with, we have a few raging alcoholics. I don't have to name names. We all know who they are. One's a drunken donut. Then we have the other drunk. We know who that is, right? And then we have a meth head. And they probably have trouble coping with their issues. Now, everyone's story is different. I'm not going to sit there and say, "Oh, this is your problem." This is why you use the heavy shit. Or you are addicted. But in a way, there are unhealthy addictions and there are positive ones. Some people are addicted to food, good food. Some people are addicted to movies. Some people are addicted to whatever it may be. And there have been studies. They've been doing studies on this, actually, that sites like YouTube, sites like Twitter, Facebook, TikTok are highly addictive. So someone with the highly addictive personality may have an issue turning off their computers or phones and getting a life. And porn, internet porn, or videotapes at the porn store may be an issue for some people too. Some people can't handle interpersonal relationships except when they're behind a computer or TV screen. So we see people at the Drunken Donut, Mrs. Flashlight, Skanky Pants, TT. We see Psycho, the one Psycho. We don't like to give attention on here, and her new little friends that like to harass Noodle Mash. And we wonder what their problem is. Are they addicted to making people suffer because they don't feel good about themselves. They have these emotional problems. Yeah, we see dinosaurs with little with boobies. Yeah, the one had a problem with that yesterday. I saw those comments and I was like, are you kidding me? It's a joke. But they can and you have a good point there, Patty. And they have the nerve to tear apart Amber for her sobriety, which I'm very proud of, by the way. She's over 10 years clean. She said she got clean for her daughter. And they like to throw it in her face. Probably they got nothing else to attack her with, or they're just low life bottom feeding idiots. But other than that, so we're gonna get to the studies here. There aren't many studies to be had on internet trolls and cyberbullies. Europe, by the way, hey Missy K, Europe has the toughest laws. It's not exactly what you would call trolling is illegal over in Europe. Because if you look up the word trolling in the dictionary, it means disrupting chat in an inappropriate or derogatory way. So these are people, so traditional trolling is when they come in and they go off topic. So a traditional trolls, they think they're funny. Like suppose, hypothetically speaking, there was a vegetarian group on Facebook and a bunch of trolls came in and they make sarcastic comments like, let me make you a ham sandwich. You see, they're trying to make the others laugh while trying to insult the other. But what these people are doing far exceeds traditional trolling, in my opinion. It far exceeds trolling. It goes into cyberbullying. So cyberbullying is a crime here in the US, Canada, and Europe. So just going into a chat or group and making offbeat comments just to disrupt chat is not a crime. Just for shits and giggles. That is not a crime. However, if you decide, well, I don't like someone in this chat, let's go target the person. You got a good example there. You got a good example there, Witchy. It's like going into a stream and disrupting it by complaining about your life just to get attention. That's more trolling. And they think it's funny. They're probably laughing behind the keyboard while saying this shit, along with their little friends. They think it's a joke. Michelle K. Grown ass people doing schoolyard bullshit at recess. I can agree with that, Red Door Woman. It all comes back to the same thing. Trolls want attention. And refusing to get angry, frustrated, or uncomfortable, at least publicly, is the best way to deny them this. You're gonna... So, penalties in the United Kingdom, at least, for cyberbullying or harassment on the internet, the maximum penalty is 18 months. This was some years ago when I watched the news video. I'm not sure if it's still on YouTube or what the deal is. And yes, Michelle K. There's a fun way to troll, fun and silly. Okay, let me bring up Jamie's chat. Some of the trolls that come into Jamie's chat, they make us laugh. And it's fun. I'm going to put that out there. Some trolls can be fun and funny. Let's put that out there. I'm not attacking all trolls for this stream. I'm not attacking all trolls. So if anyone's listening and they have a troll account and they go into Jamie's chat, or they go into another chat and they're not bothering anybody and they're just cracking jokes, I'm not. This isn't about you. This stream is more about the cyberbullying aspect. The stream is more exploring the aspect of when they go too far and when there are legal consequences, they keep doing it. So we all know, that's right, which you call the ones that cause an issue. So I'm going to explain what I'm talking about here, the ones that cause an issue. We all know that some of these trolls, that they call themselves bona fide trolls. So who admitted in the leaked messages over at Skanky Pants' channel? I don't know which one of them played it. I don't really care. That they were bona fide, certified trolls. Skanky Pants is a troll. Mrs. Flashlight's a troll. And in my opinion, they're more than trolls. They're the worst of the worst. Hooker is the troll, in my opinion. Not a very nice one. However, hey, Zen. Because you and Missy K, I'm going to put Missy K's comment up too. You two have no desire to want to troll because you are decent human beings. you two are decent human beings and it doesn't really get you off. It doesn't make you giggle or make you feel more of a person doing it. But some of these people, it makes them feel good about themselves. So the penalty in the United Kingdom, the penalty in the United Kingdom, from what I heard, is 18 months. This was several years ago. And I watched a video. This was a news report. They were following several trolls. They're calling them internet trolls at the time. And these internet trolls were convicted under the statute. And these were real bad ones. They were the ones targeting people and harassing them, targeting them for harassment. So the judge gave them the max, 18 months. So that sounded like justice. Justice was served. However, some of these trolls got probation added for other charges. So one of the terms of these probations was not to troll or go on social media. So what this undercover news team in the UK was doing was following them and was busting them for trolling the internet and bullying people once they got out of prison. So they got reported to probation and they got violated. And they went back to jail. Hey, Auntie. So the T-Rex, Patty, has been going for 2 years. I think she was going longer than that. She may have been in another genre on here. But I think she was trolling much longer than that. That's just my opinion. It's just when she decided to show up here and decided to go off on people over here. So all right. So these people in the UK, they decided they're going to continue to harass people on the internet even after they're convicted and even after placed on criminal probation. So they couldn't even keep themselves off the internet and they couldn't stop trolling people and harassing them for like 6 months to a year. There's something mentally wrong with them, for one. And two, it must give them so much emotional satisfaction that they're addicted. They're addicted to something I don't know what it is, the reactions that they get from people, the angry reactions that they get from this. So, Mrs. Flashlight has been at this for 10 years now. Her side of the wall, I'll call it, that brick wall that's dividing everyone, goes real life. They dox people. They go low. Maybe they do like jail showers, you know? Maybe they lick it up the rump, for all I know. So, Flashlight was at this for 10 years. That side of the wall, they go after people's kids. People's children have nothing to do with this. And they try to go at the throat. They have they true Red Door woman, but here's the thing. The psychiatric community has few studies or long-term studies on what's actually wrong with these folks. Or is it an addiction, or what the problem is? The closest study I've seen was are these social media platforms addictive? And for many people, it is. So if social media can be as addictive as porn for some people, they can have a satisfying relationship with their hand, so to speak, behind a computer screen or TV. Then guess what? They probably can they're probably addicted to making they're probably addicted to the laughs. They're probably addicted to going after people. And the few studies that you're mentioning, Red Door, low levels of empathy, guilt, and responsibility for their actions. And which ones of these trolls that we deal with on a daily basis actually show guilt and responsibility? We know Mrs. Flashlight and Miss Skanky Pants doesn't show guilt or take responsibility for their actions, do they? Does Monica take responsibility for her actions? Does Shih Tzu Lover take responsibility for hers? None of them do. None of them take responsibility for their actions. They point the finger and they say it's your fault, or it's that person's fault. Then we have Miss Potato Head, who thinks she knows it all, and she thinks she knows it all, and point and unloyal. the most unloyal, backstabbing one you'll come across on here. And they do things, what's good for them at the time. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing I disagree with Jamie on, Red Door. Here's the thing I disagree with. It doesn't mean they're sociopaths or with narcissistic personality disorder. Yes, there's something mentally wrong with them. And many of these trolls, including the loofah sponge, many of them are delusional. Many of these bullies go screaming on their community posts, so delusional, it's sometimes funny and sometimes not, because they don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. It's like a Greek tragedy playing over and over again. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing, Patty. So here's the addiction part that here's how I define an addiction. Okay. Many people, when they do something wrong, whatever, and there's a consequence or several consequences in a row, you sit back and you self-reflect. What did I do? With addicts, whatever the addiction is, whatever, with the addiction theory, it's how do I put that? I'm just trying to, yeah, that's a fact. Red Door. 20% of the entire U.S. population is diagnosed with mental illness. Those are the only ones we know about. So how I would define an addiction is, so you have consequences for your actions. Suppose you misbehave. I'll give you an example of a drug addiction. So you start using, you start acting psycho, delusional. You know how some of these controlled substances are, alcohol. And you lose your job. But an addict won't see that. They'll keep going. They'll keep doing what they're doing. And they'll point the finger and say it's everyone else's fault. Keep going until they alienate everyone around them. That's how addiction seems to go around. So they continue to act the way they do with addiction, regardless of the consequences, the social or economic consequences. That's how I'd probably define it more. So we have Miss Flashlight, Miss Skanky Pants. We have that psycho dinosaur. That psycho dinosaur and her friends. They tend, okay, there are social consequences. She goes around, she gets banned by everyone. Most of the decent creators on here. So that's a social consequence to her actions. But it doesn't stop her. And then she finds creators that will have her around. Where she will fit in. And she keeps behaving the way that she does. Now she's threatening me. Now she's threatening me, and I think it's hilarious. And that's true, Red Door. Yes, they show that is true. Trolls show higher motivation to achieve negative social goals. So some of the consequences for these freaks that we deal with on a regular basis is all right. So we're going to go back to that phone call that Jamie had with Jeff, and the phone call. He says that the CPS is called a lot, and the police are often over there. So a normal person would say after maybe 3 or 4 or 5 calls, they would have some self-awareness and say, what am I doing? Is this worth it? Having a little fun on the side, as she would put it. But she's been doing this for 10 friggin' years. She finds a new man, new community, where she goes lies and scams because her live-in sugar daddy won't give her money for narcotics, including her recreational meth, her alcohol, her pot, whatever she wants. And lately, it's beginning to make me wonder if she's doing it a lot more. And then she's having these so-called fundraisers. So I'm going to read what Red Door wrote in Discord. So people with a propensity to seek excessive stimulation have often been found trolling. Psychoanalytic studies suggest that people with antisocial, narcissistic behavior and sadistic personality disorder are more likely to perpetrate trolling behavior. It's just as much an addiction as alcohol, drugs, or gambling. Let's dissect the psychology of a textbook troll. Take away the context of their life situation and focus on the main attributes. Internet trolls are prototypical sadists. They enjoy inflicting pain on strangers to make themselves feel better or more in control. In the case of a troll, bullying people over the internet brings them pleasure by reducing their own uncertainty. So, Mrs. Flashlight's been at it at 10 years. I don't know how long Scooty's been at it. But they think they're hot shit. They think they're funny. I'm sure none of us really find them too hilarious. And it's always the same thing. It's always the same thing. So people go real life on some of these people too, probably from their old communities. And Miss Flashlight reminds me of someone from about maybe 12 years ago, 13 years ago. So here's how it started. I was following the Casey Anthony trial. So when she got acquitted, damn that jury. I think they were stupid as hell, but her lawyers complained in court, I think the next day or the day after. There were these funny memes on Facebook. And I started laughing. And oh yeah, that woman is pure evil, Casey Anthony. Oh yeah. So I found, and then the HLN was telling me about the Facebook pages. I hate Casey Anthony. Casey Anthony's going to hell. So they were saying these memes were on those pages. So I went on my Facebook page, my Facebook account. I never used it, by the way. I had it like for maybe a year or two, and I barely even used Facebook. And so I hate Casey Anthony Facebook page lasted maybe a week. So then on some of the other pages, they had links to some of the closed Facebook groups. So I joined a few. Okay, we were having fun. And the memes and stuff and the jokes were hilarious. We were having a good time in there. But then came the trolls. They would come in, we had the harmless ones that said Casey Anthony's innocent, leave her alone. You had a mod that would just kick them right out when they used to yell and scream at people. And we just said, and then we had the real bad one. A few of the bad ones that went in there. These were the ones that would, during, everyone remembers Watts Island, right? These are the select few, there's a handful of them, that will come in and dox you. Go real life on occasion. And all that nasty shit. So then this guy, David, created this controversial page. It was Zombie Kaylee Anthony. So he degraded a child that got murdered. So apparently I heard the backstory of why he did it, even though I didn't agree to why he did it. Anyway, a few of those trolls, they weren't trolls, they were bullies. They were real bad. So he was, this David guy was trying to get all those trolls together off the Casey Anthony pages and groups. You know? So, this one troll, her name was Judy. Hey, Shelly. Her name was Judy. There was another one named Ian. There was another one named, what's her name? Ashley. There was 3 of them. These 3 were real bad. And there was a few from the Amanda Knox pages. They also trolled the Amanda Knox is innocent pages. They thought Amanda Knox was a guilty SOB. Regardless of what the evidence was. So, this Judy girl was a phony, just like Miss Flashlight, Miss Tiffany. And she pretended that she was against bullying. She used a Facebook page. She used a Facebook page against bullying, and she was one of the mods. And she was one of the biggest bullies ever. She would use that page, go over and bully people on the Amanda Knox pages. And then that David guy, there was a group, there was a Facebook group, they changed their names. It was either called Cockstorm, Shitstorm, whatever you want to call it. And they used to go on trolling expeditions. And the one that went too far was when they made the news, actually. They made the news in New Zealand. When they went into groups and on pages, and they were threatening mothers, making actual criminal threats. So this Judy girl pretended to be a man. And they were threatening to send, they were going on people's profiles, the ones that weren't locked down. And they downloaded their kids' photos and threatened the parents to send them to pedophile sites for a pedophile's pleasure. It was disgusting. I'm not kidding you, everyone. So then her and her friends figured this out. This Judy girl was bullying me and a bunch of others. This is the girl that I mentioned on Jamie's, who is a retired school teacher in Australia, doing this shit. She actually, what was at the time considered revenge porn. She posted one picture of a nude guy and the other side and my photo on it. It was like a 2-sided photo. And it was, what is that site called? Talk to Strangers site. Omega, or I don't know what the site is actually. It's like to talk to strangers. It was a webcam site. So she did that, and her friends on the anti-bullying page. She goes, so. This Judy girl was from Australia, so she had night shift while everyone else went to bed at night. So they were wondering why they were getting YouTube timeouts from posts made at midnight, 11 years. 10, 11 years. Bleh. Why they were getting timeouts for 3 days, 7 days, 30 days. From posts being made at midnight, 11 p.m., 1 a.m. And they were wondering why a lot of people, more and more people, were hating them. And then, to make a long story short, they gave her the boot. Because they finally figured her out. They caught her in the act. And there was a big powwow. Let's just put it that way. So what they did afterward, that little fight, was they started going real life on them. Her and her little friends, they started to go real life. So one of the guys I mentioned was Ian. He decided to drive from Connecticut to Florida and he slashed her parents' tires, her family's tires in the driveway, and then threw some fish. I think this guy was trying to go after the animals because they had cats. So that was one act of real life. Then that same guy tried to go to Queens and tried to do it again. But this time, she was on her front porch and saw him. And he never got out of his car. Then another girl, we don't know which one it was actually, called the police on several of them. So this is an example of how going real life on people can have the opposite effect. You think going real life is going to accomplish something? It didn't back then. It just got people angrier. They joined a group. Everyone joined a group to get rid of them. I'll admit, some people in the group, I'm not going to mention names, did it right back when they started to do something questionable. There's one girl who called people's employers right back. There was another girl who did a few other things, did welfare checks, because that Judy girl was doing it. But these idiots over at Skanky's or Mrs. Flashlight think, oh, we keep doing this shit, we're going to get rid of Jamie. Oh, we're going to get Jamie pissed enough, so he's going to leave. Really? So you thought, so these idiots, these small brains, small brain cavities, cranial cavities, thought, okay, let's shut him down. Let's take all his subs. That didn't happen, did it? So that failed. So they think if they keep doing it, they'll finally catch on. And they want the money, so-called money, Jamie makes. Please. You really think the imbeciles actually think they're going to get that kind of money? Give me a break. They must be really delusional. They must be so delusional. So what happened with Judy at the end was she did, it was like 18 months of back and forth on a page, Facebook page, a few Facebook pages. Yes, a few, I think two of them left. One went to jail. And then the second one went to jail. However, the other girl, the Judy, she just got sick of getting hounded or didn't want to take responsibility for her behavior. So guess what she did? Anyone want to guess what she did? She got off Facebook all right. She just got sick of getting hounded. She found other social media sites to troll and haunt. Mm-hmm. So if they think that they're going to get rid of any of us, really? So this girl got her most of her alts. This Judy got most of her alts removed. So she got sick of getting hounded and on Facebook, getting exposed. But this is the one thing that reminds me of the flashlight, Mrs. Flashlight. Here's the one thing that reminds me of Mrs. Flashlight. She reported every single thing that exposed her. Why was that? Because she didn't want anything derogatory about her, so she can go to from community to community and victimize people. Interesting, isn't it? How you get one personality and then you get one just like them years later that you have to deal with. Real interesting. So this woman, this Judy lady, they lied about people, made things out of thin air. They made dirty memes calling people hookers. They called people the P word, actually. They were nasty. And that Ashley girl, she got arrested for using heroin. For heroin possession. And she went to jail for it. She actually, because the number one, okay, she got arrested for heroin possession. Her and her ex-husband, actually. But then she had 2 counts of felony child neglect. That's why she went to jail. And social services came and took the kids. Now she's deceased. I don't know what happened. If she died of a drug overdose, I don't know what happened. If she had a relapse, but she's no longer with us. So when I think of some of these crazed lunatics on here, I think this is what I think. They're either on drugs, they have an alcohol problem, or an undiagnosed mental illness. And they're probably addicted to one of these social media platforms that they can't stay off of. That's what I think. So we have this flashlight, our case study, who uses recreational drugs, meth, one of the harshest ones out there. Yeah, or a combination of several. Because I said earlier that many people use illegal narcotics or alcohol to cope with mental illness. So many former drug addicts, a lot of them, they have mental health issues. Many former addicts have, and current addicts, by the way, have mental health issues. So some of these people, they have psychotic disorders, which means they're like delusional, hyper depressive, or manic depressive. I can name one person right here who might fit that narrative of bipolar disorder. I'm not a psychologist, so I can't diagnose the psycho, but she always goes on a community post ranting and raving for obviously no reason. She probably had one of her visions. Then we have the other girl who pretends that she's of another race on this platform. And then other people go and cry racist. Not getting the point directly. It takes a special kind of person, really, who can't take any responsibility for a fire that happened. I'm saying it, a fire where their kid died. And they get charged. What was the charge? Child neglect or child abuse or endanger? Oh, no. Child endangerment. Excuse me. So they get child endangerment charge. They get what was it? 1 year in the penitentiary. She gets out. Comes on here. She doesn't take any responsibility for her actions. No apologies, no nothing. She's another scary person. Because what she did to Lindsay was disgusting. So she decided to go real life. She thought she was I don't know what was in her mind. Oh, I don't like Lindsay. I can't stand her. This is TT, you know. I can't stand her. So I'm gonna contact her ex. So she already was looking into Lindsay's background or whatever. So what she did was she failed to do a criminal background check on the ex, which would have revealed that he's a convicted sex offender. All she had to do was look at the sex offender registry, the dumb bitch. But no. Oh, no. She was seeing red, right? She was seeing red. So she gives this convicted sex offender a real sex offender. Not these imaginary ones where they have no proof of nothing. Nobody on a sex offender registry, no one charged, no copy of a criminal complaint filed. An actual convicted sex offender. Contacts this convicted sex offender ex of Lindsay. And interferes with custody. So what TT and her friends did was tried to help him get custody of a child. Just because they hated Lindsay. So they didn't just hurt Lindsay. So TT was charged with child endangerment of her child, was convicted, went to jail, got a 1 year sentence. I don't know if she served the whole year, but I hope she did. And then she endangers another child. And then when she's called out on it, she lies and says she doesn't know anything about it. Absolutely no self-awareness. No responsibility. She took no responsibility for her actions, no apologies. And then this YouTube troll decides that wasn't good enough. Then she decides, well, let's tip the pot, stir the pot a little more, and let's go support someone who committed cold-blooded murder. How long ago was it? Mm-hmm. Patty, you're absolutely right on that. But it actually says on the registry what you're charged with. So if you actually look at the sex offender registry, Patty, I suggest I'm not going to ask where you live, but actually look at your local sex offender registry. Put in your zip code or your address, and you can look at local sex offenders in your area and look at the registry, Patty. It will list the charge as to why they're on there. And now they have what tier sex offender they are. So not only do they have the charge now on the registry of what they did to get themselves on the registry in the first place, then they have the tiers. So they have tiers 1 through 3, and that's their risk assessment level. So when you get a tier 1, 2, 3, it's their likelihood they'll offend. Yeah, it does list the charge of what the person was charged with. So if it says urinating in public and they're on the sex offender registry or something petty along those lines, but here's the thing, Patty. With the sex offender registry, I'm going to be blunt here. It's great to have a sex offender registry to warn people around where these creeps live. It's a good thing. It's a wonderful tool to help mothers and parents protect their children. I think it's a wonderful asset. However, here's and then they federalized it. They federalized the system where each state has to contribute their registries and put it into the federal system. So the Megan's Law registries in all 50 states get tied into the federal system. And here's the issue I have. Who watches these creeps once they serve their sentence or out on parole? Who watches them? It's good to have a list of them all and what they're charged with and what their risk assessment level is. That's good information to have. But who is watching them? Ask yourself that. As parents, as someone, as a concerned single person walking down the street, as a woman, someone charged with, I'm going to give you an example: sexual assault, serial rape. If you check just because you have children doesn't mean you're not at risk of these psychos. Having you could just go walk down the street and you're at risk. So who watches these? Hey, Ghost. So who watches these people once they serve their entire sentence or gets let out on parole? Who watches them? Nobody. Nobody watches them. Not parole, not probation, nobody. So there's no system in place to where nobody watches them. So there are other laws in the books in 50 states. So who enforces those laws on the books? Just wait till they get caught. They're already on the sex offender registry. Some of these creeps. So here's something I would suggest. This is just an idea. Why don't they put them on lifetime supervision? Lifetime probation or parole as part of certain sex offenses. So this way, what Patty said with the sex offender registry, they can actually watch the people that they don't go in front of schools. They don't run amok. Because after their supervision is done, there's no you just have to wait until they get caught. And then you have these trolls on here who sit there and falsely accuse people of being the P word. That is the most disgusting thing you can say about somebody. Really. It is the most disgusting and degrading thing you could say. Especially if it's not true. I got called it falsely. I'm not even on the registry. I never got convicted. I never had a report filed. Neither has Jamie. Neither has Siren. But these trolls get a kick out of saying it coming out of their flappy mouths. I think another reason why they keep doing it is because there's no legal consequences either. And even sometimes there are no legal, if there are legal consequences, they keep doing it because they are addicted to the internet or to this platform or whatever the deal is. And they probably need to be criminally charged and placed on probation. And if they violate the terms of their probation of being on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, they can go back to jail. And I agree with you, Jason. Some should, I don't think most of them should ever be released, Jason. Because I watched one TV show. It was a documentary on my Roku. And it was a 2 parts. They're giving you an education on why these people do it. Well, I didn't really care. I don't care why they do it, Jason. It's totally fucked up and disgusting. But the psychologist came on and explained it in layman's terms. They aren't attracted to children. It's control. It's a crime of control. It's like this sick little thing where they get sexually aroused by having control over another person. It's not a sexual orientation. It's not a sexual orientation like some of these so-called groups try to make it out to be. But I'm sure we're going to have someone that's slow, cry, but Janie, give me a break. That argument is old, no proof ever given. And anything that nut job ever provided is all nothing burgers. Oh, yikes. And the one thing that they had on that show that I actually got from it was they were talking to the sickos themselves. Yeah, they were talking about the sickos. So they had a bunch of sickos and they were interviewing them. And several of the questions was, there was one guy, there's one sicko, he looked just like a creep. Totally unattractive. He looks like he's lost his teeth a long time ago. And he was asked during the interview, hey, Tokyo. So some people so how do I ask the question the reporter asked? So the reporter asked, how many people have you offended before getting your 2 counts that you're in prison now? That seems like honest and upfront question to ask one of these sickos and doing time. And they're doing the so-called offender therapy. This was in the middle of this so-called therapy. And you know what his answer was? Over 100. So this guy and several others had numbers higher than that. So you're telling me that you offended over 100 children and you're only charged with 2 counts. So the judge gave you the max. Good for the judge. So you're going to get out, unfortunately. So that's why you're in this little program where they should be helping this guy's victims get their shit together. Where, in my opinion, they should throw him in jail and throw him in prison and throw away the key. No parole. Sorry. By the time you get caught, hearing these answers on this TV show, how many times they offended before actually getting the attention of law enforcement, they deserve to rot in hell. Yeah, there seems to be this idea, Jason, that, they can be treated with medication and left on the streets. But what if they don't get their medication? Duh. Think about that for a moment. All they got to do is miss one visit with that so-called, what do they call that, shot or whatever they got now. Oh, some of these people, they're idiots. Well, yes, Red Door Woman. Some people are on it that didn't do it or it was a statutory offense. But I'm talking about forcible incidents. And these sickos, a lot of these people, I'd say about 90% Red Door will just reoffend. Even if they get a possession of CP. They probably didn't get caught offending yet. Oh. Yikes. So now they're going to probably call being a P word an addiction. It's a fucking crime. It hurts people. Just because you have an addiction or a medical issue isn't a license. It isn't a license to hurt people. Now we're going to go back to Mrs. P for a second. We all know the woman's crazy. We all know she has her mental issues. However, just because she has her issues isn't a license for her to harass people. So we got these idiots in this community, or the fringes of it, that think it's okay for Mrs. P to harass people, and they give her a get out of free jail, get out of jail free card. So if we're not going to give a get out of free jail card to a sex offender, but Patty, I'm going to tell you this. No offense, love, but under the law, possession of something like that is 9/10 of the law. Now I'm gonna say for drugs, I'm just gonna say give you a drug example for this. So someone has a joint, all right, and they have it on them or it's in the car. So you don't have to. So possession doesn't mean you're using it. That's what the law says. You have to be in possession of it. It doesn't mean you are purchasing it, buying it. That might be another charge. But possession means you have it. Yeah. So the charge might be, so a possession charge, Patty, may be, so if it was on the computer before you bought it and you sold it to an innocent college student, okay, he got charged with possession? Or did he get charged with distribution? There's a difference. So under the law, there's something called, you could be charged with producing or dis, distributing that smut. Okay, it was possession only, Patty. So that means, so possession can, you have to have it in your possession, Patty. So the lazy FBI didn't check the metadata. I don't think they had to for a possession charge, but they should have. They wanted to get to the bottom of it. Who was the actual scuzz bucket? So who was the actual scuzz bucket here? Who was producing and distributing the crap? Mm-hmm. So if it was possession only, that's all they had to prove is that this college kid was in possession of it. They didn't have to prove that he was sending it to people. Yeah, Patty. Yeah, that's what's wrong with some of these possession charges. Because possession, you don't have to prove. You just have to prove that they're okay. So suppose it's a joint, Patty. All the state has to prove is you are in possession of that joint, and it's illegal, or that crack pipe with a little crack in it, even residue. Oh, Patty, ouch! Did you get a lawyer, Patty? Yeah, Patty. They are like that. They are like that. The feds, the police, the district attorney's offices, they don't care. Once you're convicted, they fight this. So they want to say they don't make mistakes, they don't want to get sued. Okay, good, Patty. Because I don't want to see you in the clink. I don't want to see you in the clink. Because they want someone take the fall for it. Yeah, they won't. They probably won't do a damn thing. Yeah, the problem with our criminal justice system is there's a little what's it called, little loophole that says that if that those facts, it could if they could show that it could have been discovered 8 fucking years ago, those facts, then it doesn't matter. Yeah, that is sad, Tokyo. Some people fall between the cracks. Now we all heard of the case of Lori Benbenek. She got a raw deal. She got a raw deal. So some people, there's that maybe that 5% of criminal cases where 5-10%. I'm not saying everyone that goes before a judge is innocent, but they need to have some type of reform where new evidence can be overlooked evidence at trial. You know, it has to be something. Oh, I'm going to have to watch that, Patty. I'm going to have to watch that, actually. Yeah, and there was the one, I think there was one case I heard of where the state was even fighting DNA testing on several cases. The state was fighting DNA testing, and 3 of them came out they were innocent. 1 came out he was guilty. But at the same time, I think they should have the right to a DNA test. You know, it's oh, okay. Another Chris Watts case. All right, Patty. Yeah, because after the Casey Anthony case with me, I filed the Jodi Arias case. She was guilty as fuck. Oh, that's good, Patty. Yeah, we all know Stabby was guilty. And we had the usual trolls. They used to say, oh, Jodi was so pretty, she wouldn't do such a thing. This was some of the men, the male trolls that would come in. You know, the usual trolling. They got mad at you. They made a meme of you. That was what most of the angry people did back then. So if someone got mad at you back in those days, ladies, they would probably make they'd probably make a crazy meme of you without crossing the line. It'd probably have a picture or something, or something, and they say, I love this criminal or something. That's how it was back in the Casey Anthony days or the Jodi Arias. So after the Jodi Arias case, and there was a few others, you know. Then came then I was like spending most of my time in paranormal groups or whatever. And then came the Watts Island. So that was like a few years later. A friend of mine says, oh, did you hear about Chris Watts? And I says, no. Why should I? And yeah, Tokyo. Yeah. I was like watching the trial. I wasn't on social media until the verdict. That was me. So I'm a very sarcastic person, and I was like making sarcastic remarks in the Casey Anthony groups. Oh, is she dead yet? You know. It's like, and then with Jodi Arias, we also made stabby jokes or stabby memes, making fun of Jodi Arias. We made fun of the criminal. So the worst you got back then, the worst clapback you got was, oh, you love the criminal, oh, a little mean. That was usually the worst you got, or an argument with someone in a chat, in a group. You're arguing your position. When I came across some of the Chris Watts groups, it was like, whoa. So you're getting doxxed for your opinion. So you're getting your photos posted because you don't agree with the other person. They're posting your address and phone number because you don't agree with their narrative. Then they started sending death threats. What I mean by death threats was like something like drink bleach, things like that, something that was passive aggressive in nature. Some of them were actual death threats. So some of these people on YouTube actually send death threats to people. Now, we all know who some of these people are. And I'm sure many of these people are trolls too. And they probably think, oh, they're not going to do anything about it. They're not going to, I know I'm doing something illegal, but who cares? So right in the middle of the Watts Island thing, it was like we had these psycho creators. Some of them moved to YouTube. And we had this one girl I met, this is when I met Amy during the Watts Island fiasco. Because people were sending a friend of Amy death threats. Or supposedly, but the person never sent the messages before that, where she was messaging them. Amy didn't even know about that. So Watts Island was a joke, actually. Watts Island was an actual joke and runaway train show. And the trolls there were the worst of any true crime case I ever seen in my life. A lot of them are still on YouTube, still on Facebook, but some of them moved over here. And it's like, I wonder if some of these people are minors because they act like it. Yeah, a lot of these so one troll is, okay, she's 70. She has an avatar of a dog and harasses Noodle Mash. Okay. I would have thought that she was 5 based on the way she talks. I'm serious. And her little friend, her two or three friends, I would think that they're infants. All they do is cry about the littlest things. It's like utterly, yeah. And I wonder what's actually wrong with them. But I'm not a psychologist. I don't have a degree. It's they're probably addicted. They probably have an addiction to social media. They probably have they're addicted to the attention. It's they're trying to they get off on the reactions that they get, and it's like some of these other addictions. It's like they continue doing what they're doing, no self-awareness, no responsibility. They don't take responsibility for their action. They don't own anything they do, and it's practically so we have Miss Flashlight, who people have gone real life on for years. It had no effect on her, regardless of the consequences, the social consequences. So she's been banned. For many places on here. She's been ostracized. And then she has the real life stuff. But it doesn't. I agree with you, Red Door. The allure of anonymity is some things, is one other thing. And here's another thing. Some people on here, when they get mad at people, they forget sometimes that there's a human being behind the computer screen. They forget there's a humanity on here. Yeah, it's sick games. So we have one person who likes to dish it out, but doesn't want a response, and she has addiction to alcohol. She has mental issues that then we have her, she's played for over a decade. Then we had this Judy girl. She croaked, so she's no longer doing it. But from what I'm hearing, she did it till the day she died. This Judy girl, or until she got so sick she couldn't even hold a computer screen. So I'm beginning to think that there's some sort of trolling addiction with some of these freaks. So we have some of these imbeciles that like to scream the N-word, racial slurs, homophobic slurs. Do you think it bothers me? I've been called homophobic slurs all my life. It doesn't really bother me. So they tried that. They think that repeating over and over again, I beat my mommy. is going to get me fired up, please. I know it's not true. I never beat my mommy up. But they can't beat the argument on here, so they have to resort to bottom feeding. They have to sit here and get people's kids involved. They have to go after they have to involve people's children. They have to look shame. They have to body shame because they have no argument or logic to back up what they're saying. All they do is make shit up, sometimes out of thin air, and they expect people to buy it. So when they have a legitimate argument against what they say, then they go for looks. Then they go after your kids. Then they go after your family. Then they dox you. But then they preach, oh, don't dox people. Don't go after people's kids. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't look shame. But then what do? They do the exact same things they're preaching against. Because they have no arguments. In addition, they hate several people on this platform so much probably for all different reasons. So we have Skanky Pants. She hates Jamie because he wouldn't put up with her bullshit. Then we have Miss Flashlight mad at Jamie because he wouldn't let her use her. She wouldn't let, okay, let me rephrase that. Jamie wouldn't be taken for a loop. Wouldn't be controlled, wouldn't be too generous. He started to see what she was. Then we have Slow Deanne, who was probably dropped at birth or was born with fetal alcohol or drug syndrome. Who was actually caught cruising the beach for a 12-year-old child. But all these people, these so-called moral people over at the other side of the wall, it's okay to them. It's okay if you kill somebody. It's okay if you offend a child. It's okay if you help a sex offender get child custody. As long as you hate the same people. As long as you're trolls and as long as you're fellow trolls and as long as you hate the same people, you're accepted. It doesn't matter what crime or act of depravity you've done. So it disgusts me to see them sexualize Amber's child, put her down for her past drug issues when a lot of them have drug issues themselves. But they'll never mention that to any of us. So I'm gonna mention that I'm gonna go on to this comment here from Red Door Woman. She's on a roll today. She hasn't cammed up in months. Probably can't afford the Botox. So, Red Door, I'm going to ask you this hypothetical question. What do caregivers of the mentally ill or people with drug problems, caretakers, do? People that actually care, to stop them from their self-destructive behavior. What do they do? So you have a bipolar person that one of the traits is one of the personality traits of a bipolar person is they engage in high risk activity. So what if the person is a patient or someone you're evaluating as a caretaker, or this person has a caretaker, and they engage in paying prostitutes, hypothetically speaking, of course. And so what would this caretaker steps that this caretaker would take to not enable this mentally ill person? Would they control the money? Not give this person cash? I don't think drug dealers and prostitutes take plastic, such as gas cards, cards for J.C. Penney's, grocery cards. You know those gift cards at the grocery store. You know what I'm talking about? Those gift cards. So we know Jeff, her live-in, that you like to call the gay ghost, knows that she has a problem. And she's on here constantly lying and grifting. So he probably clamps down on the money. That's my good guess. And she calls that abuse. So she calls him the psychopathic gay ghost because they enable the person. This is the mistake a lot of people make, including family members, is they enable them. So what enabling means is they don't control the money, don't. So it's like letting this flashlight control Jeff's money. But Jeff doesn't enable her fully. Yes, he does enable her by giving her a stable internet connection. To feed her addictions. But we don't need to enable people like some of these people in this community. Are we going to sit there and enable Drunken Donut? Oh, don't worry about it. Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right, Red Door. They give in and give them what they want because they don't want to deal with the lashing out and abuse. And that's what you got a point there, Sarah. But here's the thing. Jeff enables her by giving her a stable internet connection or getting her a laptop or giving her the means. Now, if he took her so-called laptop or phone away and gave her a flip phone instead, interesting, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be an interesting concept? So instead of a iPhone or Android, she gets a flip phone for a cell phone, and she doesn't get a laptop. Interesting concept, wouldn't that be? Or Jeff could also turn off the internet connection at the house. But he probably uses it too. So that's an interesting concept too. But Jeff is still enabling her by giving her the means to troll people. Even though he's not enabling her drug habit or her alcohol habit. Probably if he has to use the internet, he can always do it at work. Mm-hmm. That's true too. Jeff enables her by putting a damn poof roof over her head, paying for her car, etc. Jeff likes it when she trolls because it means she's not bothering him. And that could be true too. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that I think she's addicted. Instead of she's more addicted to her trolling's like more addictive because Southern California doesn't get hurricanes or tropical storms. It's rare. It's a very rare occurrence. The last time Southern California got a hurricane or tropical storm was in the 30s. So they got one this year. Southern California got a tropical storm. It was named Hillary. California voted for Hillary in a large margin. So I guess Hillary came for a visit. So it's ironic that it was named Hillary. So just may have to make a joke about it. But so Tropical Storm Hillary hit. And it made more of a direct hit to where the Miss Flashlight lives. It didn't hit the coast line. It got less of a direct hit. The coast where she lived got more of a direct hit from the storm. And what was she doing during this storm? The normal thing to do during one of these tropical storms, Southern California is not equipped for these things. Since a tropical storm still high winds and the part of the storm that came in was high rain, she got more affected than the city of Los Angeles. So let's just put that out there. I'm not going to sit there and put exactly where she lives, but what was she doing during a tropical cyclone? Anyone in chat? What was she doing during a tropical cyclone? She was on the internet talking to her sissies. And the next day she loses. Bingo. Bingo. She was online. And she actually lost her main channel the next day or that night, ironically. So thank you, Tropical Storm Hillary, for doing your job. So thank you so much, Tropical Storm Hillary. You actually got rid of a menace temporarily, but you have a lot more work to do. So instead of and then the day after the storm, she was probably inside her home, talking to her sissies again. Too lazy to actually go outside and clean up the storm damage. I'm sure the flood waters receded by then. We got a few of those before here. We got a tropical cyclone here. Dumped 5 inches of rain, 5 plus some inches of rain here. The coastal areas got more, but we still had a mess in our backyard and front yard. We had a lot of branches down. Oh, yes, Miss Boone. She better hope she's in his will because she owns nada, zilch. And she gave her farewell speech and left for 12 hours. Isn't that correct? So if someone has an addiction to making people miserable, as miserable as she is, so you're on the internet while you're having a tropical cyclone that rarely hits Southern California. Even afterwards, when you have cleanup and chores to do, when you're supposed to be helping your live-in clean up. I saw pictures of the area and it wasn't too pretty. Anything on the other side of that mountain was pretty drenched. Let's just put it that way. I saw pictures of Lancaster, California, Palmdale. They didn't fare too well either. So it did affect her area. It did affect her area. Because anything over that mountain, she's just over that mountain. I'll say I-15 area. Publicly, Patty. I'm not going to be a low life and have zero integrity on here. I'm not going to dox her publicly on this platform. I'm not going to endorse anyone going real life on the bitch. Let's just get that clear. I'm just stating facts that people did do it. I'm not going to encourage people to do it because with this girl, it has no effect. Yeah, that's true, Patty. That is true. When people get hurricanes, not everyone's affected. Some people are less affected than others. It depends on where exactly you are. Because one area can get an inch of rain, or an inch and a half of rain, and then the other part of the storm, you get like 5-10 inches. So it all depends on the actual track. So she got the so actually she got the significant, yeah, or actually be in the flood zone, but she was actually in the path. She probably got less than Palm Springs. Palm Springs was the bullseye, but she actually got a significant flood event. Yeah, I know, Red Door, and I was going to say before you arrived to say some love and light for Red Door here. She's getting a tropical storm right now. Heavy rain and high winds. The lights are flickering by her, so she disappears tonight. Please keep her in your thoughts. Maine is getting plundered by Lee tonight. So I just wanted to explore tonight. I just wanted to explore. Are these people actually addicted to this platform and trolling people? Does it give them this dopamine hit? or are they just nasty people? I think it's both, because we see this hate. So they come on here, and a lot of these people, they hate Jamie, they hate this person, they hate that person, and anything they do or say is excused as long as they hate that same person. You're accepted. Murder's accepted. Child molestation is accepted. Giving a child molester platform is accepted. Helping a child molester get custody is accepted. Yep, Patty. Oh, good thing, Red Door. That's a wonderful thing. So if they get so I think it's hatred. They get offended over the littlest shit, and then they get this hate boner. It's like, so I'm going to address those so-called memes before we go tonight. Those so-called racist memes. Are these people kidding when they are calling Jamie racist? Let me give that's a joke. So you don't get that that Jamie is making fun of Lufa here. For being racist. Mm-hmm. So you can't make fun of someone being racist these days, pretending to be someone of color. You can't call that out, right? Can't call that out, according to them. Yikes. Thank you, Miss Boone. I was hoping someone would say that. So they don't get the fact that one of Jamie's exes is black, a person of color. They don't get that Jamie is Jewish, a minority in this country. They even told him one time he was like for his Klan meeting. Really? A group that hates him, hates me for being Catholic, hates me for being gay. Are you crazy? Mm-hmm. So these people, they just make this shit up out of thin air. I think. I could be wrong. They might think they know it all. But we'll see. But we'll see. Yeah, they'll start with anything. They'll start with anything. They'll grasp at straws. They think they know it all, and then and if they don't know something, they'll make it up. Like I'll use Raleigh Jones as this example. He claims he thought, okay, he's known for his racial slurs, epithets, homophobic language. Okay. So then he goes and with his mouth and claims that them two had sex. Really? Does that make any sense to anyone? And then he uses the anti-Semitic language too. Hateful too. So would someone in the closet, hypothetically, go to him for sexual fulfillment? Nah, no. So he thought, oh, just say we slept together. It will make everyone hate him. Well, here's the thing. Nobody cares. Nobody cares where Jamie puts his you know what? So they thought that would be the end of them or whatever. But these people don't think things through. And even if it was true, nobody gives a shit. You know? Even if it was, he would have the same support than he had before. Yeah, these people don't think long term, or they don't do their field research. They just think, oh, let's come up with something outrageous and go with it. Let's tell it long enough so they think people will believe it. So you think calling someone gay or bi a straight guy, he says he's straight. That's straight bashing. You're trying to make someone feel bad about themselves for being who they are. You're trying to make a person feel bad for who they are. It's the same thing as if you mock someone for their religion. It doesn't matter if it's you're bashing someone because they're straight, because they're gay, bi. I don't care. It's the same thing. And practically, and here's the other thing, it's none of your business what he does in his bedroom. So the thing is, if Raleigh Jones and people like that, trolls like that, think yeah, because people addicted like that to one person. Some of these idiots on here are addicted to one or two or three people on here, and talk about obsessed. So they have to be into everything and everyone, into everything and everything about that person. Their bedroom, what they eat in the morning, to what they say on the internet. And if it hurts their fifis, they go, oh, what can we do to aggravate this person today? What low thing can we come up with next? It's kind of like an addiction too, because if you're only going after one or two people, it becomes a hate campaign. And this is what a lot of these people do. So, all right, everyone. Been on for almost 2.5 hours, and I'm going to get off here. So, don't forget to hit that. Oh yes, Patty. That tram flashlight took his job. Fucking unforgivable. So, if anyone wants to member up, the links in the pinned to the top. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up on the way out. And good night or good morning, wherever you are. And I'll see you next time. Thank you for coming. All right. Bye bye.